Welcome to another enchanting storytelling Sunday on Culinary Cuisine Journey. I'm Kip Ferguson, here to whisk you away on a tantalizing trip through time. Today, we're delving into a pivotal chapter in culinary history, the dramatic transformation during the French Revolution and the subsequent rise of the modern restaurant. This tale isn't just about food, it's about revolution, innovation, and the democratization of dining. Picture France before the Revolution, a realm where culinary artistry was a spectacle of the aristocracy. The pre-revolutionary culinary scene was a theater of opulence, reserved for the palaces and grand estates. In these sprawling kitchens, master chefs crafted extravagant feasts, a symbol of wealth and power. Tables were adorned with sumptuous dishes, each a masterpiece of flavor and presentation, reflecting the social divide of the era. Food was not merely sustenance, it was an expression of status, an art form practiced and enjoyed by the few. The kitchens of the nobility were realms of culinary exploration and extravagance. Ingredients were sourced from the farthest corners of the kingdom and beyond to please the sophisticated palates of the aristocrats. These feasts were not just meals, they were events where politics, intrigue, and gastronomy danced hand in hand. Each dish, from the delicate soups to the elaborate pièces montées, told a story of privilege and power. But as we stand on the cusp of revolution, this world of culinary exclusivity was about to be upended. The tumultuous events of the French Revolution would close the doors of aristocratic dining rooms and open the culinary stage to the streets of Paris, giving birth to a new kind of public dining that would forever change the way we eat. So join me as we step back into the dramatic era to witness the birth of the restaurants and the democratization of fine dining. It's a story of upheaval, resilience, and the enduring power of food to bring people together. Let's embark on this journey together, uncovering the flavors and fervor of a revolution that redefined the culinary world. The French Revolution, a period marked by radical social and political upheaval, dramatically altered the course of history, including the culinary world. As the ancient regime crumbled, so did the extravagant lifestyle of the aristocracy, including their opulent culinary traditions. This seismic shift in the social order led to the closure of aristocratic kitchens, leaving many accomplished chefs, once the pride of noble households, without patrons. The storming of the Bastille in 1789 was not just a political revolution, it was a culinary one. As the revolution gained momentum, the luxurious lives of the nobility, including their indulgent dining habits, became a target of the revolutionaries' ire. Aristocratic estates were seized, and their lavish kitchens, once the heart of culinary innovation and opulence, were shuttered. The chefs, who had dedicated their lives to perfecting the art of haute cuisine for their noble employers, found themselves in a radically changed world, unemployed, and with their talents seemingly redundant in a nation fighting for equality. This dramatic shift, however, bore the seeds of a significant transformation in the culinary landscape. The disbanding of these grand kitchens led to a democratization of fine dining. Chefs, armed with skills honed in aristocratic kitchens, began to seek new avenues to practice their craft. The public, whose exposure to fine dining had been limited, were suddenly the new audience for these culinary experts. The chefs' exodus from aristocratic kitchens coincided with the rise of public dining establishments in Paris. These early restaurants were a far cry from the private dining rooms of the nobility, both in ambiance and clientele. They were simpler, more accessible, and catered to a broader segment of society. This was the beginning of the restaurant as we know it today, a public space where people from different social strata could come together to enjoy a meal. Restaurants like La Grande Taverne de Londres, founded by Antoine Bouvier, a former chef of the Duke of Chartres, became pioneers in this new dining culture. These establishments retained elements of sophistication and quality from the aristocratic kitchens, but presented themselves in a manner that was appealing and accessible to the emerging bourgeoisie and other patrons. Menus became more varied, offering choices to diners, a concept previously unheard of in private aristocratic dining. In a time when France was reeling under the ideals of liberté, égalité, fraternité, cuisine too became a symbol of equality. The restaurant was a microcosm of the new social order, where the luxury of fine dining was no longer the exclusive privilege of the aristocrats, but a pleasure available in a wider public. The rise of restaurants played a crucial role in leveling the culinary playing field, making high-quality food accessible to more than just the elite. This period also saw innovation in culinary services. Menus began to reflect a blend of regional French cuisines, as chefs from different parts of the country brought their unique styles and flavors to Paris. The concept of a la carte dining, as opposed to the fixed menus of aristocratic meals, offered diners an unprecedented level of choice, fostering a more personal dining experience. Moreover, the presentation of food, which in aristocratic dining rooms was as much about a spectacle as it was about taste, became more focused on flavor and quality. The emphasis shifted from dazzling guests with extravagant displays to satisfying a broader clientele with delicious, well-prepared dishes. The French Revolution's impact on the culinary world was profound and lasting. It not only changed the fate of chefs and the structure of kitchens, but also transformed the very nature of dining from an exclusive privilege to a more inclusive experience. This transition from private opulence to public dining marked the birth of the modern restaurant and set the stage for the evolution of global dining culture. The revolution, in essence, brought the art of fine dining to the people, making it a shared cultural heritage rather than an exclusive aristocratic right. As the French Revolution reshaped society, it also gave birth to a culinary revolution, the emergence of the modern restaurant. The term restaurant originally referred to a restorative broth sold by street vendors in Paris to rejuvenate the health of their customers. This term would soon take on a new meaning, becoming synonymous with places offering a variety of foods to the public. The first true restaurants in Paris were a stark contrast to the taverns and inns that had previously dominated the dining scene. While taverns and inns primarily catered to travelers, offering hearty, simple fare in a communal setting, the nascent restaurants of Paris presented a different dining experience. They were designed with individual tables, creating a more intimate and personal dining environment. This shift in layout reflected a broader social change. Dining out was no longer just about sustenance while traveling. It was about enjoying a culinary experience. The interiors of these early restaurants were often elegant yet understated, appealing to the burgeoning bourgeoisie class that sought the refinement of aristocratic dining without its ostentation. The atmosphere in these establishments was one of civilized leisure, where patrons could engage in conversation and enjoy their meal without the rowdiness typical of taverns. Menus in these restaurants were diverse and offered choices to diners, a novelty at the time. The concept of selecting from a menu allowed customers to tailor their dining experience to their tastes and budget, a democratization of dining that was unheard of in the exclusive aristocratic kitchens. The chefs began to experiment with regional recipes and ingredients, creating dishes that were uniquely French but accessible to a wider audience. The clientele of these early restaurants was predominantly the Parisian middle class, who found in these new establishments a space that catered to their desire for sophistication at an affordable price. Unlike the exclusive feasts of the nobility, these restaurants were accessible to anyone who could afford to dine out, breaking down social barriers and making fine dining a more inclusive experience. The emergence of restaurants during this era also marked a departure from the function of traditional inns and taverns. Instead of merely providing a place to eat and rest for travelers, restaurants became destinations in their own right, places where people went to enjoy good food and company. This change was indicative of the shifting social dynamics of the time, a move towards a more egalitarian society, where the pleasures of good food and dining were not reserved for the upper echelons alone. These first restaurants in Paris laid the foundation for the modern restaurant industry. They set new standards in dining, emphasizing quality of food, ambiance, and customer choice. This revolution in dining was not just about the food, it was a reflection of the changing societal values of the time. The restaurant became a symbol of the new France, a place where equality, choice, and quality were valued. In essence, the birth of the modern restaurant was a crucial element in the culinary legacy of the French Revolution. It represented a shift from the exclusivity of aristocratic dining to a more inclusive and democratic culinary culture. These early establishments paved the way for the global restaurant culture we know today, where dining out is an experience cherished by many, regardless of societal standing. The story of the restaurant is a testament to the enduring influence of the French Revolution on how we eat, socialize, and enjoy the pleasures of the table. The French Revolution, while a period of great social upheaval, also inadvertently became a catalyst for culinary evolution. As the aristocracy's kitchens closed, chefs who once served in grand chateaus found themselves without their traditional patrons. This displacement, however, did not dampen their culinary spirits. Rather, it set the stage for these talented individuals to redefine and democratize French cuisine. Among the notable chefs of this era was Antoine Bouvier, previously a chef in an aristocratic household. Bouvier opened Les Grandes Tavernes de Londres in Paris, one of the first establishments that resembled a modern restaurant. His establishment offered an unprecedented dining experience, marked by elegance, refined service, and a menu that showcased the culinary skills honed in the aristocracy's kitchens. Bouvier's restaurants became a beacon for Paris's emerging bourgeoisie, who weren't keen to experience the sophistication of aristocratic dining without its exclusivity. Another influential figure was Marie-Antoine Carême, known as the King of Chefs and the Chef of Kings. Carême, who initially made his name creating extravagant pièces-montées, edible sculptures, later worked for various European nobility. After the Revolution, he brought his immense talent to the public sphere, authoring several cookbooks and contributing to the popularization of haute cuisine. Carême's work significantly influenced the culinary identity of early restaurants, introducing a level of culinary artistry that elevated the dining experience. These chefs introduced refined cooking techniques and presentation styles to a broader audience far beyond the walls of aristocratic dining rooms. Techniques such as intricate sauce preparation, elaborate baking, and sophisticated presentation were no longer reserved for the elite. Instead, they became accessible to anyone who could afford to dine at these new restaurants. The chef's expertise in crafting balanced, flavorful dishes transformed the expectations and experiences of dining out. Their influence extended beyond the kitchen. These chefs played a vital role in shaping the very identity of early restaurants. They established standards for quality and service that formed the foundation of modern culinary practices. The emphasis on a well-curated menu, the importance of presentation, and the concept of a dining experience centered around the customer's pleasure were all legacies of these displaced chefs. Furthermore, these chefs were instrumental in making French cuisine renowned worldwide. Their cookbooks, written for a broader audience, disseminated French cooking techniques and recipes, capturing the imagination of cooks and food enthusiasts far beyond France's borders. The influence of displaced chefs from aristocratic households during the French Revolution was pivotal in the culinary world. They were the architects of a new dining culture, one that embraced the principles of quality, refinement, and accessibility. Their contributions not only shaped the culinary identity of early restaurants, but also laid the groundwork for French cuisine's global reputation for excellence and sophistication. These chefs turned a period of upheaval into an era of culinary innovation, forever changing the landscape of food and dining. The emergence of restaurants in post-revolutionary France marked a pivotal shift in the culinary world, heralding the democratization of fine dining. This transformation wasn't just about the availability of gourmet food. It signified a profound change in social customs and gastronomic experiences, particularly for the burgeoning middle class. Before the Revolution, fine dining was the exclusive domain of the aristocracy. Lavish feasts and intricate dishes were confined to the palaces and manors of the elite, with little access for the general populace. The French Revolution, with its egalitarian ethos, dismantled those barriers, allowing the art of fine cuisine to flow into the public domain. Restaurants, a novelty at the time, became the conduits for this culinary democratization. The establishment of restaurants in Paris and beyond opened the doors of high-end cuisine to a broader audience. These establishments, often run by chefs who had honed their skills in aristocratic kitchens, offered menus that retained the sophistication and quality of noble dining, but were accessible to anyone who could afford them. For the first time, the middle class had the opportunity to experience dishes and cooking techniques that had previously been out of reach. This democratization wasn't just about the food, it was a symbol of the changing social order, where the pleasures of fine dining were no longer a privilege, but a more widely accessible luxury. This new dining culture also led to changes in social dining customs. Restaurants became places for socializing, business, and entertainment, transcending their original purpose as mere eating establishments. The concept of dining out for pleasure, rather than necessity, began to take root. The experience of eating in a restaurant, with its individual tables, menu choices, and dedicated service, was a novelty that reshaped the way people interacted with food and each other. Moreover, the democratization of fine dining had a significant influence on culinary trends and the development of French cuisine. Chefs, freed from the constraints of cooking for aristocratic tastes, began to experiment and innovate. They started incorporating regional flavors and ingredients, laying the groundwork for what would become known as haute cuisine. This era saw the birth of many classic French dishes that are celebrated worldwide today. The influence of these early restaurants on French cuisine was profound. They became laboratories of culinary creativity, where new dishes were conceived and perfected. The competition among restaurants also spurred culinary innovation, as each establishment sought to attract patrons with unique and exquisite offerings. In essence, the democratization of fine dining in the aftermath of the French Revolution played a crucial role in shaping not just French cuisine, but the very culture of dining itself. It broke down class barriers in gastronomy, allowing a wider public to partake in the joys of exquisite food. The legacy of this shift continues to influence dining cultures around the world, making the restaurant experience a cornerstone of modern culinary enjoyment. The French Revolution's impact on the culinary world left an indelible legacy that extends far beyond the borders of France, profoundly influencing global culinary culture and the hospitality industry. The transformation that occurred during this tumultuous period reshaped not only French dining practices, but also set in motion a wave of change that would ripple across continents. The birth of the modern restaurant in post-revolutionary France was more than just a change in dining style, it was a cultural shift. As these new dining establishments became popular in Paris, the concept quickly caught the imagination of people in other countries. The idea of a restaurant, a place where anyone could walk in and choose a meal from a menu in a setting designed for comfort and enjoyment, was revolutionary. This concept spread across Europe and to the New World, becoming an integral part of urban life and social culture. The global spread of restaurants altered the landscape of the culinary arts and hospitality. Restaurants became spaces where culinary creativity flourished, where chefs could showcase their talents to a diverse clientele, and where dining became an experience rather than just a necessity. This evolution fostered a new appreciation for gastronomy and service, elevating the role of the chef from a mere cook to an artist and the restaurateur to a curator of culinary experiences. Moreover, the French Revolution's influence extended to the development of culinary education and professionalization in the hospitality industry. Culinary schools and hospitality institutes began adopting principles that originated in these early French restaurants, such as a focus on technique, presentation, and service. This professionalization elevated the status of cooking and hospitality, making them respected career paths. The legacy of this period in culinary history is evident in every corner of the world where a restaurant operates. From the bistros of Paris to the sushi bars of Tokyo and the fusion restaurants of New York, the influence of the French Revolution is palpable. It democratized fine dining, introduced the world to the concept of the restaurant, and forever changed how we perceive and enjoy food. The Revolution's impact on the culinary arts and hospitality industry continues to be a source of inspiration and innovation, underscoring the profound and lasting influence of this remarkable period in history. As we close today's episode on Storytelling Sunday, we've journeyed through a fascinating period in history, where the French Revolution not only reshaped a nation, but also revolutionized the culinary world. We explored the birth of the modern restaurant, the democratization of fine dining, and the enduring global legacy of these changes. This era marked a significant turning point, transforming dining from an aristocratic privilege to an accessible art form, and laying the foundation for the rich and diverse culinary culture we enjoy today. I encourage you, our listeners, to delve into the rich history of dining, explore how it has reshaped modern culinary practices, and reflect on the way we experience food and dining in our own lives. The past has much to teach us about the present and future of gastronomy. Tomorrow on Culinary Cuisine Journey, join me for Market Monday as we visit the vibrant Queen Victoria Market in Melbourne. We'll immerse ourselves in the bustling energy of this iconic marketplace, exploring its array of fresh produce, artisanal goods, and the rich cultural tapestry that makes it a culinary hotspot. Get ready to discover the flavors and stories that make Queen Victoria Market a beloved destination for food lovers around the world. See you tomorrow for another culinary adventure.